So here's something a little different. I never really narrate anything, but I figured I'd give a little walkthrough of my Rex dropship. Alright, so... I forgot, I was doing some speed tests. I'll let these guys take off. That's my custom Galaxy Explorer. That's of course just a copy of this Rex dropship, and then that's my Gemini Fighter Mark 1. Alright. So anyway, yeah, it's only slightly modified from the original set. I kind of just added extra stuff, took off that top canopy. But yeah, pretty much everything functions the same. Rear ramp, I added that extra little thing just so you can easily walk up. And then on the front, that's on the original set, but I added the, or let's see, let me turn on my light. I cleared out some space on the inside so that it can act as a kind of like an emergency hatch. There's not really enough space for a minifig to realistically go through there in the real world, but it's enough to kind of just infer that. In the game, of course, with a little bit of clipping, you can. So that does function. And then, oops. I also added a top access hatch. So like if you land in the water or on the side or something, you can exit via that top hatch. I thought that was kind of fun. A little background of kind of the back end of Unreal Engine. This little glowing dot is my actual physics actor. I kind of ran into an issue where I used my Gemini Fighter Mark 1 as my physics, or as my initial test, just for flight, and the bottom section is the physics actor. So I got that all working, everything was fun, but then when I copied that blueprint to make my Galaxy Explorers, the physics behaved different. The acceleration, the turning, everything was all out of whack. Either too light or like too heavy on the stick. So, and even between the two, it varied differently. So these kind of do the same thing, but the bottom section is the physics actor. And the best I can think from what little I could find is that even though the mass is the same and all the physics attributes are the same, Unreal automatically calculates certain things based on the size and tries to make assumptions. That may be wildly wrong, but it kind of seems like that. So anyway, my current test is to just do a tiny little simple box that is the physics actor, and then essentially the shell of the ship is kind of irrelevant to any of those physics properties. Oh yeah, I wanted to say also, functionally, as far as like in game, this will have 3 cannons, one mounted on the top, so it has nice view all around. There's a front mount right here, so that'll provide plenty of front coverage. And then there's one on the bottom, which I don't think you can see where the mount is. It's a little ball mount. But that the pilot will focus on flying, of course, but then you'll have a crew member, like a flight engineer. He can access this panel, and that will enable the player to be able to control all the blasters all at once. Essentially, they just look around, and then if there's any blaster that's in gimbal lock or out of range, it just won't fire, and then any that are available will. So you don't have to worry about what's facing where. The blasters will follow the view of this panel. So I thought that was kind of a fun feature. And then of course there's all the extra space for the additional crew members that will be the whoever's going to be drop shipped, I guess. right, so let's go ahead and power up. I haven't built out the HUD yet. I've designed it, but I still have to import all the attributes. I would like to animate the official Lego display panel pieces, but that gets into, you know, like some extra artwork stuff, and to be honest, like, I'm not a game developer or game designer by any stretch of the word. It's amazing that I've been able to do this much, but I would really like to have all the panels work, but at this moment I don't even know where to start, so I kind of just will do an overlay HUD like in my previous videos. So one thing I'm super happy about this is this was a unique challenge. The thruster motion. Oops, let me power down so those aren't making noise. So the thruster motion, I made it so that they accurately, you know, reproduce the motion of how I envision this to actually function. I've already gone through a couple different flight template iterations or flight physics, where the original one basically copied my fighter jets over there. The problem is the hover didn't really work. I tried to modify it, but it just felt clunky. I tried to do my second iteration was where I actually added the impulse coming from the actual thruster pods, which worked, but it was wildly very sensitive on the controls. So, and it's like I could have gone down the road of trying to you know, add some buffers to make it a little more familiar in flight, but my main goal is to make one flight template that I can apply to all my vehicles and just change some simple attributes to make it match the flight characteristics of that vehicle. So I kind of reverted back to my original flight method, but overhauled how the hover method and the flight mode works. So I'll probably end up having to change my other ships, but I'm really happy how it turned out. All right, so it gets a little loud when I turn it on, so I probably won't be talking when I'm flying, but I'll show you some of the motions of the pods that I made. So they, for the most part, accurately move how I imagine this to actually function. Inside real quick because it's a little quieter here. One thing I wanted to mention is the current state. Let's see. Oops, wrong button. Oh heck, I'll just land. Okay, so as far as the flight mode goes, you can see how the stance, they're kind of angled outward. That's the initial hover mode. I did that so that kind of for a little, you know, pseudo realism, but also for in-game functionality. Once I start making like dust effects, this way it'll blow outward so that your dropship crew can exit without, you know, there being like a huge cloud. When you change flight modes, they'll point straight down, and that allows for quicker response and faster flight modes. When it's in this first the hover mode, the flight controls are pretty restrictive, so that you can do fine controls. You can land, you can hover up next to things if you need to rescue somebody. Like on the back of this, I don't have it functional, but there's a fold out crane. So if you were going to do like a rescue, you can drop the back panel, have your crew member go out there, drop the crane while the pilot's just holding steady. So in this flight mode, you can do that, where the other one is more for like tactical flight. All right, here we go. into the actual flight mode. Side so it's a little quieter. I really changed the linear damping, so when you cut corners real quick, fly around this mountain real quick, it really, you kind of really feel the weight, quote, feel the weight of the vehicle. So it's supposed to feel like the thrust vectoring is the primary control and the rest of the ship is just a toaster being flown through the air. So if I turn sharp, whoops, I'm about to hit that. Whoops. Uh-oh. Something's happening. Anyway, so for the most part, this works great. Of course, there's some anomalies that... Oh, no. But I think that's gone. That's gone forever. Anyway, that's never happened before. Sometimes the character ends up providing like a weird collision issue, giving my vehicles like crazy thrust. But yeah, so that somewhere that was my Rex Explorer. I hope you enjoyed it.